Hello, everybody in the Salisbury School community. I'm Peter Gilbert. I'm the Assistant Head of School for Institutional Advancement, and I'm joined by my friends and colleagues, Bobby Wynn, Sarah Mulrooney, Beth Hammond, and Tim Sinclair. We're so proud of the collective success we've had this year at school and the partnership we've had with all the Salisbury community, including the alumni and the parents. This is pre-recorded, so forgive us if our verb tenses may be off in terms of when you're consuming this, but simply our goal is to share what we've done this past year that we're very proud of and to look forward. It's been a historic year, and we certainly have a plan and a vision for what we're going to do this summer in preparation for the fall of 21. We're not going to discuss the head of school search today, but we do look forward to getting news from Spencer Stewart, the search consultant, and the board of trustees with the search committee. And almost more importantly, more news on how we're going to honor the legacy of the Chandlers with a celebration on campus and off. So let's begin and hear about how we work to achieve our institutional goals from the success of this past year, and we're moving forward. I turn it over to Bobby Wynn.
Thanks, Peter, and hello, everybody from the hilltop. It's it's been an incredible year, as Peter has said, and in some ways, it's maybe felt like more than just 1 year. But as I think back and think about a lot of conversations that we've had, through webinars and such, I really want to start hopefully in the same way, and that's with a huge thank you. And when I think back on the last 13 months or so, and think about the successes that we've had, and you start to think about, okay, what are the main contributors to that? The thing for me that always comes to the front is it's been such an amazing collective effort. And chances are, if you're watching this, you've played a part in the success that we've all shared this year. And I really want to thank you for that. And in my almost 20 years here, the one thing that I hold dear is our ability to collaborate with our families and alums and as a faculty and staff, and that has been really, in my opinion, a huge part of our success. The other unsung hero I wanted to talk a little bit about is the weather, and I honestly can't remember a year where we've had such great weather, and that too has contributed in many ways for our students, especially. I mean, for the alums on this call, you can probably think back to many years, where we had really, really cold winters, and 16 plus inches of ice on the big lake, and which we had this year, which allowed us to get out. But the kind of negative of that is it's kind of held on in March when we get back, and sometimes our rowers had to wait for ice to melt to get on the ice. But somehow the weather god smiled on us, and we had no ice when the guys got back, and we've enjoyed some beautiful sunshine days, which has allowed our guys to get outside, and it's just lifted the spirit and morale of our guy and of our students. And here we are, well, now we're in May, but earlier in April, we had teachers outside doing classes, and and it felt like the last weeks of spring, not the first weeks of spring. So I did want to give a shout out to the weather gods and thank them for their help. But we are off to a tremendous start here, literally at the halfway point. Beth is going to get into a lot of the kind of the onboarding and testing that we've done. Needless to say, we've remained and continue to be healthy, which has allowed us to do a lot of things with our students that really resembles what we looked like 2 springs ago, and which is really boosted the morale on campus, and I think if you were to visit and walk around campus, it would probably feel like it did 2 or 3 years ago on a beautiful sunny day. The only difference, we'd have kids with masks on, but that's life in a pandemic. But the students have been phenomenal and continue to thrive. Tim will talk a little bit about our athletics, but incredibly proud of the work that Tim has done and our coaches throughout the entire year. Being able to compete with other schools has been a really exciting thing for our students. As we talked about, Beth will talk a little bit about the general health of the campus, but I want to brag a little bit about her because she doesn't brag all that much. But the work that Beth and her staff have done, keeping our community healthy with the tremendous amount of work with the testing on a weekly basis. And then, to know, and I know I don't want to steal any of her thunder, but her ability to secure a clinic here, not only for our students, but just as importantly for our surrounding town, just says a ton about the hard work that she has done, but also it keeps in tradition with Salisbury School. And that is, we also want to be a big part of the community as well. And I also wanted to touch base a little bit on our sixth formers who have, you think about kind of the tail end of their junior year and then for their full sixth form year and leaders throughout, how they're doing. And one way to measure is obviously kind of the college process. And I can tell you that in nearly, this is my 19th year, wrapping up my 19th year, all 19 years been part of the college office. This is without a doubt our best matriculation list in 19 years. And I think that speaks volumes in 2 areas. One, for our class of 2021, but just as important, our faculty has been able to keep our students engaged, plugged in, motivated. And, I know Sarah's going to talk a lot about that, but just, I can't tell you how appreciative and hard and proud of the faculty and staff that I am here at Salisbury. And then finally, the graduation. I think, everyone in our community last year, while very proud of what we were able to do, really missed our traditional graduation. And as those of you who have experienced it know, that's a really special moment here on the Hilltop. And it's something that we are really looking forward to doing again with our families here on campus in person, and really just wanting to celebrate that class of 2021 and send them off to their next adventure, full of Salisbury spirit. I did want to also, before I turn it over to Sarah, just talk a little bit about looking ahead. And, obviously, as you can imagine, there's a ton of conversation about what next year will look like. I want you to know that we are incredibly optimistic, and the news just keeps getting better and better and better. And some of the stuff that Beth will talk about will also indicate kind of the health of our community. But we are planning and looking forward to getting back to a much, much more normal way of life here on campus. And that means, in every facet of school, the dorms, the dining hall, the classrooms, the fields, the courts, the rink, and I know our families are looking forward to it. And most most especially our students are looking forward to it. And, I just want you all to, take that away that, we are well on our way and planning to make sure that, we get as close to normal as we possibly can. And, obviously, the CDC and COVID has a vote, but we are looking forward to having our classrooms full. We're not anticipating distance learning as part of the curriculum, and getting our students all back here on campus where they need to be and belong. And so without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Sarah, who has done just an amazing job leading our faculty through just an incredible time in history, and having to kind of pivot on if there's anything smaller than a dime, on a dime, on a daily basis. And so proud of the work she's done. So Sarah, I'll turn it over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Bobby. Appreciate it. So hi, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here addressing you again. These webinars are becoming such a standard routine in these challenging times, which I think is a testament to how this past year has forced us to think differently about how we connect. And in some ways, it's made that easier. It's always a pleasure for me to be part of these because I take a lot of enjoyment from any opportunity that I get to champion, the incredible work happening in our classrooms here on the Hilltop. So I want to start similar to what Bobby did. I want to start today by looking back a little. A year ago, our school and really all schools were in the early weeks of just a complete and total paradigm shift. When the pandemic hit last March and it became clear that we'd need to move the entire learning experience online and that we had just a few weeks to figure out how to do it, the utter terror gave way to focus and determination pretty quickly. Our sense of responsibility to these boys is at the center of everything we do. And so, we were committed to finding a way through it, and we did. And then the spring trimester came to a close, and there was this tiny window of relief, and a bit of an opportunity to exhale and pat ourselves on the back for accomplishing what felt like the impossible months before. But pretty quickly, our gaze shifted to the coming school year. And in the rearview mirror, the mammoth task of bringing a whole school online for a trimester began to look pretty small in comparison to the task ahead of us. So by July, of last year, we knew that we were going to have to find a way to teach boys in the classroom, albeit masked and socially distanced, while also engaging a significant number of our students online simultaneously. And because of the unique situation ahead of us, we also knew that we needed to reevaluate how we taught. So not once to shy away from a challenge, our faculty stayed more plugged in last summer than I think any group of teachers anywhere has ever done over summer vacation. We worked together in committees to develop new schedules for the academic day for both the hybrid and the distance learning periods. We met as departments to reflect on what we had learned in the spring of 2020 and how we could take that learning and apply it to the coming year. And as I've mentioned before, our entire faculty last summer spent 5 weeks engaged in professional development to become better hybrid and online teachers. And while so much of the approaching fall felt unknown to us, the one thing that was sure was that we were as prepared as we could be for the challenges ahead, and that this faculty would continue to work together to adjust, collaborate, and always keep our boys learning at the center of everything, no matter what the coming year threw at us. So now, as this incredible year is starting to come to a close, I can't help but really swell with pride at the way that our teachers have risen to the occasion. We've managed to stay true to our roots as Salisbury educators, no matter what the distance, be it 6 feet or 6,000 miles. We've stayed focused on the relationship between the teacher and the student as the foundation for all that we do. We found new ways to hold fast to our classics and traditions. You know, it turns out the 9th grade Minecraft project presentation works really well over Zoom. It actually was better. And we've made some discoveries about our teaching that probably never would have happened if we hadn't been forced to redesign so much this year. In a recent faculty meeting, we did this activity where we wrote a letter from ourselves now to ourselves in March of 2020. And the idea behind this exercise was to create some space to recognize and celebrate the tremendous tenacity and commitment that we've shown this year, but also to be open to the fact that we have grown in many positive ways. So many of our teachers have reflected that we are better teachers now than we were before, perhaps better than we may ever have had to become. And that's all thanks, honestly, to COVID. That said, boy, are we ready and excited to move forward. You know, we dream of full classrooms, plenty of face-to-face interactions, and a return to daily routines that focus less on keeping us safely apart and more on maximizing the time we get to spend together, learning and growing. Our collective excitement for becoming better teachers continues to be infectious, though. This summer, looking ahead, our faculty will come together for a 3-day professional development to improve our skills with project-based learning. So we've been using the winter trimester as a time to dive deeply into hands-on, exciting projects for years now. And this professional development experience will sharpen our skills and provide us with more tools to make these winter projects and projects really all year bigger and better for our boys. We also look forward to some time to unplug and recharge the batteries. As Bobby mentioned, a return to a more familiar life on a boarding school campus next fall is thrilling to imagine, but it's going to take a lot of energy and dusting off some old muscles that haven't been flexed a lot in the past year. So one hopes the approaching summer will also provide plenty of rest, but I promise you, we will all be dreaming up ways to make sure our triumphant return in the fall honors the incredible learning from this past year too. So you'll hear from the academic office over the summer months. As usual, you'll be working with Juliana Pecchia, our Director of Studies, to finalize your son's courses for the coming year. You'll get information about the flow of the academic day, and you'll no doubt get some updates from me on the exciting new initiatives that we'll be putting in place after our faculty professional development this summer. So again, like Bobby, I just want to express my deep gratitude to all of you for your trust, your partnership, and your support this year. It's meant the world to us to know that you have entrusted your sons with us during such a, at times scary, stressful, but certainly unusual time in their lives and in our lives. So thank you for that. It means a lot. It's made us stronger, for sure. As always, don't hesitate to reach out to me for anything at all. And I wish you all a healthy and happy close of the 2020-2021 school year, and look forward to starting again. Here we go. Fall of 2021. It never ends. All right, I'm going to hand it over to Beth.
Thanks, Sarah, and thank you all for joining us today. It feels really good to be addressing you all at the end of a challenging but highly successful, healthy, and safe school year. I can't believe we're approaching the end of our spring trimester already. The spring weather has been great, and it's allowed our students many opportunities to get outside and enjoy the many gifts of the hilltop. There's definitely a renewed energy on campus, and it feels much more normal here, save for the masks that we're all donning. And while no one enjoys wearing a mask, it's been really interesting to see how the health and safety protocols, from masks to the increased hand hygiene to limiting off-campus travel, have impacted the overall health of the community. They not only help to prevent the spread of COVID, but many other illnesses that we see in a typical year. Our health center visits are about a quarter of what they are typically this time of year. And while we're all seeing fewer sick students, the health center staff has stayed really busy with all the COVID testing we've been doing. To date, we've administered over 5,000 COVID tests, and will continue with our surveillance testing throughout the remainder of the school year. And I hope I don't jinx us, and Bobby's probably cringing right now, but Salisbury's COVID track record is unparalleled. I know of no other school that has experienced fewer student COVID cases, not to mention provided such a robust on-campus experience in the middle of a pandemic. And that's a testament to your son's commitment and dedication to the health of the community. And as we've said numerous times, together we've got this, and we couldn't have gotten to this point without the support of you and your sons. The health of the community also allowed us to progress more quickly to a less restrictive environment, enjoying the more relaxed atmosphere of the yellow stage from early on in the trimester. Our students have been enjoying lots of on-campus activities, including a giant slip and slide, the Ben & Jerry's truck visiting campus, 3-on-3 basketball tournaments, and interscholastic athletics. And as Tim will likely tell you, we've led the way among our peer schools, offering a full and robust athletic experience from early on in the year. Our health has also allowed us to resume family visits and welcome spectators to our sporting events, something I know that you've all looked forward to. And it's been so wonderful to see so many of you on campus. And while we're now able to welcome visitors to campus, we'll continue to restrict student off-campus travel. And this allows us to maintain that pseudo bubble that we've referred to in the past, and allow us to provide a more robust on-campus experience and keep providing the activities that I mentioned. In our last webinar earlier this spring, I promised you that I would do everything possible to ensure that eligible students wishing to be vaccinated would have an opportunity for a vaccine. And as Bobby mentioned, I'm excited to report that we just had our first of 2 on-campus COVID vaccine clinics for students 16 and over. While the side effects of the first dose are minimal, students were prepped and given instructions to notify their dorm parent or the health center if they're experiencing any problems. And the health center staff and I are well equipped to assist any students who are experiencing side effects. Students will receive their second dose on Friday, May 28th. And by the end of the spring trimester, we will have had approximately 170 of the 200 eligible students vaccinated, which is really exciting. The health and safety protocols on campus will remain in place regardless of vaccination status until directed otherwise by state and local health departments. And looking ahead to next year, we'll await guidance from the state of Connecticut, but based on where we are right now, I am confident that students will have a much more traditional on-campus experience. And when I look at the progress we've already made, I'm very optimistic about our return to school in September, and I can't wait to welcome your boys back. As Bobby and Sarah have both said, we really appreciate the partnership of you and your sons, and we look forward to really positive things in the future. So thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Beth. I want to welcome you to everyone. This is a very exciting point in our time here at Salisbury. We have pulled it off so far. It is a significant feat, and certainly something that a lot of people have had their hands in while doing so. My hat is off to Beth and her staff for the job she's done. We would not be able to have accomplished what we have without the help of her and the support of her. 5,000 COVID tests every week. We have had upwards of 130 athletes getting tested for COVID to be able to participate in interscholastic competition. And I don't know how she does it, but we've had a good track record so far. So hats off to you. Looking back a little bit, we have taken a very cautious but systematic approach to interscholastic athletics. We didn't do it haphazard. We were able to accomplish it from the fall all the way through the spring. The way that it looks is a little bit more cautious in the spring, or excuse me, in the fall, and escalated therefore into the spring. We had 9 contests in the spring and about 80 athletes involved in interscholastic competition. In the winter, that jumped up to 29 contests and 63 athletes. And then this spring, we had 65 contests and 130 athletes. So as we got further into the process, you could see that we were able to loosen up restrictions, loosen up opportunities, and really have gotten to a point where we're not at complete capacity, but near capacity of interscholastic competition. And that is a testament to the job and that everyone has done. Our coaches have been absolutely supportive of everything we've done. We have a number of coaches that have been working with athletes all 3 seasons in various different sports at different levels, and it's good to know that we're in it together. We really have the students in mind, and have had great success in providing a robust and meaningful athletic opportunity. I think one thing that is also of note is you all. Obviously, as parents to kids, and understanding that you want to see your sons play, understanding and partnering with us, and not allowing parents in the fall, not allowing parents until the last game of the winter season, but now understanding that we can do it, and you are welcome to come to home games, has been a real exciting part, not for just us, but for your sons. They really appreciate the sport. They might not always say it, but it truly is meaningful to them, and having you be a part of it and partnering with us, and getting to the point where 100 to 75 to 100 people have been able to come to games these past couple of weeks has been really remarkable and spectacular. I would be remiss in not saying thank you to Ian Johnson as well. The job he has done in working with students and providing an opportunity for you to see games live streamed, and doing it at a top notch, has been remarkable. He has single-handedly allowed you to view your sons play and be a part of that, and that's important to us too. But really, his leadership in that role has been remarkable, and we are blessed to have him at the helm. In closing, I just want to say thank you. We've got a couple more weekends to go. Our job is not done, but certainly the opportunity for our boys to play and participate, which is so important to them and their learning and education. We've got this. Thank you. Peter.
Thank you, Tim. Like a true Salisbury graduate, you are. You're underselling your leadership and being pretty humble in this. So congrats, Tim, and great year. 2 topics I'm going to talk about as we wrap up the webinar. First is admissions, and then the development office. As you heard from my 4 friends and colleagues, this is where and why we've had success in admissions. It's what the market, parents, and their sons are looking for, and what we have always been mission true with. And for you alumni that are listening right now, just know that we're true to our brand promise, and we have been since 1901, of doing everything right for boys. And for your parents, too, and at this point in the year, we've been partners in the vision with your son. And more than anything else, the reason people are here is because we're really uniquely qualified to do one thing, and that's educate boys. The character-based mission in a complex world is never been more resounding. We produce leaders and young men built for others. Interesting with admissions right now, just to give you a quick scope of things, we're riding really what is a multi-year wave of high yield and strong admissions numbers. It's led to real buoyancy, and we're still about 95% boarding and 5% days. Now, the demographics of the area have changed a little bit in terms of more people moving here. and that may create some different positive admissions challenges. But our greatest challenge this year really was because we're a geodiverse school, distance especially. Hard to do campus visits in a pandemic. So we turned to webinars, and our webinars have been well consumed and well appreciated by potential families. And never, though, I mean, one of the things I would say in terms of having a few decades of lenses on admissions, never has admissions been more connected or more inclusive. A lot of the barriers for travel to campus or how to apply or doing standardized testing were removed. And so it's created a really diverse applicant pool for us, and one that makes Salisbury or all boarding schools a little bit more approachable. The successes we have for the fall, we'll have very good form balance in terms of our grades, and we will open next fall full for boarding students from a similar diverse, geodiverse range that we've had before. I've always said that we've had a lot of boys from California. I bet we've added about 5 or 6 more as well. And we'll have in the range of about 25 plus day students. You know, the other piece that's probably admissions has forever changed with is that we'll have to pivot our responsibilities in the office. But I would put that back to you as the parents and the alumni. You're our most important validators. You're our most important influencers. And we can imagine that we'll be open for more traditional on-campus visits next fall, and for us as admissions officers to be out traveling. I would say the same will be true for the development office too. We're planning on-campus events for the fall. Stay tuned to that. We will certainly promote those with you. And hope that in terms of travel opportunities, we'll be out on the road to see you too. We've already started doing day trips. We can imagine as we roll into the summer that some of us in the development office will be doing overnight visits for some long overdue thank yous to many of you who have been so supportive. Where we stand right now on this virtual parents and alumni weekend is we really have 2 months left in our fiscal year. Look forward to consuming everything this week, and it's been well crafted and designed by the development team. The goal is engagement and programming that'll keep you connected. The piece I'm really looking forward to is we have 3 graduates who are recording webinars for you, and for what it does for us as a faculty and as a staff. It reminds us why we do what we do, and these 3 men have been particularly successful in their different worlds. And listen, they are the vision of what we always hope for the guys that we're working with. Looking forward to June, the Sarum Challenge will kick off again. Remember, the Sarum Challenge is very much for alumni participation, and for a school that uses the 4 words loyalty, honor, service, and devotion. This is the chance for you to make a difference. And even as we sit here right now with our annual fund clicking along very well, and the $2.5 million goal with your help, which is the engine that drives everything we do for the program personnel, is within reach, and we're going to achieve it. We have to have participation, and so thanks for your involvement with that. 2 very good, exciting capital announcements for long-term projects we've envisioned. One is the chapel renovation, and the other is to create a performing arts center, that both of which will be generational builds for us. The chapel renovation will put a shovel in the ground this summer, and the chapel will be plans to be fully online, renovated by the fall of 22. Reverend Hall has great confidence in our chapel programming. We'll be able to pivot like we did for this year. And trust me, for the boys on campus and for the faculty and staff, it's been equally as meaningful as it has always been. And for the Performing Arts Center, for our musicians and singers, it's going to be transformational for them. As we look down a few years from now, mark it on your calendars, 2026, a lot of our work in this next year for development will be leading towards that. And it's a historic time for the school, as we've lived through and you've heard from our colleagues today, and for our community. And trust me that your investment here is so impactful. Your donations, your wisdom, and your volunteerism makes a big difference. on the hilltop and helps us do everything for the boys. As we conclude, I'll remind you that our mantra has always been that our core business is relationships. We stand ready to connect with any of you, and with the belief that you share too, that the world needs Salisbury and Salisbury grads more than ever. We set some really audacious goals last summer for this school year, and we did it. And we're going to have some big goals again for next year and for beyond, and we look forward to your partnership in helping us achieve all of those. Thank you very much for joining us, and be well.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.